This conference will now be recorded.
రాజేంద్ర మీరు మాట్లాడుతున్నారా లేదంటే?
God. Oh, sorry. సో ఇంతసేపు నేను మాట్లాడింది వినిపించలేదన్నమాట.
ఆహా, లేదు.
ఓకే, ఓకే, ఓకే. సో యా. ఓకే, ఓకే. So I was going through this basic Git flow branching strategy with an explanation. So where a master branch is a stable baseline of code, and from the master branch we used to create the feature branch, or not a feature branch, the develop branch here. Since the master is getting replaced with a main branch nowadays, but still we are using a master branch. So here we have a develop branch which is created from the master, and at the same develop branch, from the same develop branch, multiple developers they used to create a future branches from the develop. So at any point of a particular commit, see, one developer might create a particular branch from this third commit, and another developer might have created another branch from this commit too, and somebody else will start from the different location, I mean different commit. So based on their need, they will just take the latest branch, they will just create a new latest branch from the develop. So this is not something every company should follow, but the best practices they follow whenever they are implementing a new project, or newly they are onboarding into a CI/CD and they are creating a new Git repositories. We have to follow some branching strategies. So that makes our code and project very clean. At any point of a time, we can assess, or we can see where is our release, where is our previous releases, what are the commits gone into this particular releases, or a particular the branch to branch, or a release to release, what are the things happened, and we can make it a tag out of it once a production is released. That is how we have to maintain the branching strategy. The main thing is a master is always having a stable baseline code. That means nobody has access rights to directly push into the master. Rather, what they do, so they used to work on the feature branches, feature 1, feature 2, feature 3. So from the feature branches, they have to get back to the develop branches in the form of pull request, like we discussed yesterday. So, and from the once approval is approved, and it will be merged to the develop branch. Once the development is over, let's say we have a sprint of 2 weeks, and end of the sprint or in middle of the sprint, we might have to move our all the developed code, or the deliverables which we have promised to the client, to the lower environments first at least. So either that is a feature by feature or all features together based on a time constraint. And since the developers are working every day and they used to commit their changes, and once their feature is over, they'll just close the ticket by creating a PR pull request to the develop branch. So one company use a develop branch for raising every time PRs, or some companies use just a main or master branch. From the feature branch, they used to raise a PRs to the master branch. But the best practices we should always follow. We have to maintain a develop branch. To the develop branch, developers has to raise a PR from their feature branches or local branches. Once it is merged to develop, we have to integrate our regular continuous integration jobs through Jenkins, and post that, once we have decided to go with a lower environment deployment, this is not decision, this decision will be happen or something which will be discussed in the scrum meetings or daily stand-ups. So these many features, or this build has to be gone this by end of the day, or the build request will happen directly from the either developers or QA teams as on when they finish their work. So those builds and configuring and everything we will discuss further in a Jenkins part while installing and setting up the Jenkins. So this is just a basic about our branching strategy. So anytime we should follow a best branching strategy, we have to follow this kind of a model. One is a master for stable baseline, and another one is a develop for regular development activity. And we have a feature branches for every bug or issue the developer is working on or a task assigned. They used to create a new branches, and from those branches, and they will, after their work is over, they have to merge back to the develop. From the develop, they have to create a release branches. So as and when release branches has created, so from the release branches, so from the develop branch, we need to create a release branches. Once a release branch is created, we have to generate a release artifacts. That means with the help of continuous integration jobs, we need to generate a build or artifact. So the artifact should be deployed into somewhere in a lower environment dedicated to QA environments. So this is how a typical release process or a CI/CD flow. And from the QA environment or a dev environment, the artifacts will be promoted or deployed into other further environments like a UAT staging and a pre-prod production. The same artifacts will be moved to all the different environments from the release branch. So we should maintain a proper branching strategy for that. And there are situations where we need to give hot fixes. Hot fixes are nothing but we have deployed a production release today, and so many of the customers are particular tenants are reporting the particular issue or a severe issue on their particular client. So in that case, uh, to work those particular features to the particular clients or to the particular tenants, we should give an a hot fix since it is affecting their business. So there are something for every browser or every web application or any software which we are delivering. Yes, obviously there might be an enhancements or small bugs or glitches we used to make. I mean, it consists of those things, but hotfix is something which we need to address immediately. So bugs or support tickets or production tickets, those can be addressed in a coming sprints. But when it comes to hotfix, it has to be addressed immediately, or our production release has to be rolled back. If if it is in a situation where we cannot deliver a hotfix within a couple of hours, in that situation we should roll back our production release. That means a production release rollback. We'll talk about application deployment, UI deployment, and database deployments. Typically, how a particular microservice or a particular project or web-based application will look like.
Rajendra,
Yeah.
so here
Mhm.
all branches will be having same version of code, right? So why there is a difference between hotfix branch and release branch?
So typically, for a differentiating, see, we have encountered in a situation. uh, yeah, as you were asking, we are not maintaining all the branches with the same code. So there might be a differences, right? This particular release branch is having only release code, and hotfixes which we are maintaining um, to just deliver only hotfix. For example, now we have a every 2 weeks a production release. On every 2 weeks, imagine on a Friday we have deployed our changes into the production, and Monday or a Tuesday or between the week, in the middle of the week, and someone has reported on a Thursday, some client has reported for their clients, there some particular area users they are reporting some user profile display is not working, and that was already in a sprint of next release. You are already in the middle of another sprint, and the previous sprint was over, and we have delivered the releases, artifacts or features to the production, and everything was working fine, and all of the sudden we have got this situation where you need to give hot fix, but all of our developers were occupied with their regular work in the sense, either that is manual efforts or something, the development which is happening onto the regular develop branch or feature branches. So my already I have created a release branch or a develop branch or feature branch which was already at this particular commit. Let's just imagine this second commit is where I have delivered my production release, and now my development team is around 100th commit. So anytime now you have got a situation we need to deliver a hot fix, but we cannot deliver all these the commits which are happen after second commit, because these commits are meant for next sprint. We have decided to deliver these features to the client on a next sprint, not on this particular sprint. So what we have to do, we have to create or we have to work on the code which we have there in production, that is till the second commit. So till the second commit we have to deliver. On top
Okay.
of the second commit, we need to developer has to work on the bug. In this case, user display profile is not working, or user is unable to log in. So he has to work, he has to create, or else a DevOps engineer will create a hotfix branch from this commit to, or since we have discussed about release branches. So on this commit to, we have to create a release branches like release slash. Let me just create a release branch over there. Git checkout, develop, git checkout, 2022-03-20 or 12, which was already delivered. So now I'm in a release branch, release 2022-03-12. This is just a naming convention that I'm following to differentiate our regular branches and my release branches. And I have taken this particular code from this particular develop branch. And once I have delivered my features, like for example, for a particular hotfix, now not only the hotfix, I have delivered this particular release to the production on a 12th of March. And later, now this is the 15th, and we are already started this sprint, the next sprint on a Monday. Once we are in the middle of something and we need to deliver a hotfix, in that situation, we have to go with the where we have created a release branch. We have two options. If we know from which point of a commit we have created a release branch, we can create from that particular point of a commit. Because developer is always having a regular development activities, we cannot sure that every time my commit would be on a same point. So, some other
Okay.
developers used to push their changes to the future changes for a future releases or a next upcoming release. And that case, we have to depend on a release branch. On top of a release branch, we have to create a hotfix branch. This case, so now my release branch is having only production release code of a 0312. Now I have encountered a situation where I need to create hotfix branch, and we have
So
decided to deliver this hotfix branch on a 20th or just today itself. So I've created a hotfix branch from the release branch. because release is having only the release code which we have moved to the production. Why we are maintaining the release branch? We cannot make sure that always my develop branch is having the release code. As discussed, this particular develop branch is always the regular development activity. If we have 100 developers or 200 developers or 20 or 30 developers, they used to push their regular changes into develop branch. We don't know on which point of a commit we have taken the release artifacts and we have deployed into the production. We might forgot and we don't maintain this particular commit we have created releases and all. We have to go on, we have to go back to the build jobs on which commit we have created this particular production release. That is all manual effort. But this case, simply I can go to my release branch. On top of a release branch, I will create a hotfix branch, this hotfix branch. So all the release
Okay.
branch code will be hotfix branch will be created with the all release code, and on top of a hotfix branch, we share this particular branch to the developers. They will work on the hotfix, whatever the ticket they have, like I mentioned, feature
Okay.
branch. Again, they will create a feature branch because even for hotfix, we don't allow them to push directly. So what they do, they will just create another branch, it checkout -b, a feature. Here, not a feature. It is a severe. It might be a severe bug. Bug iPhone 34 352 or 3524 is a branch that they are going to create. So that means they have got a production code which is already having some bug, and they need to work on this particular change, adding a new files or modifying the existing files. And once the modification is over, they have to raise pull request to hotfix branch. So are you getting now? So on
Yeah,
their
I got.
production code with the name of a different branching uh, model, they create another branch. And once the bug fix is over, they have to raise a PR to the hotfix. From this hotfix branch, we create a new build, new production ready build, and we'll just share it to the team who are already testing QA team. They will assign some dedicated QAs for this hotfix to deliver on a same day, or if it is very urgent, they will just assign a dedicated team to deliver it as soon as possible. So once it is merged to the hotfix, we have to create a build and we have to generate an artifact. We have to deploy into the pre-prod environment like U8 and QA environment. And once the testing is over thoroughly on these particular base features or whatever the bug the user is reporting, they will test all those features along with the total regression suits which they have. They will run everything. Once everything is fine, we just move these hotfix changes to the production. Now this case, I'm not creating any release branch because I have already released my code to the production, and out of this particular release code, I'm getting a bug, severe bug, which was reported by the user or a client. For that, I've created a hotfix branch. From the hotfix branch, I created new artifact and I have deployed into the production. Once the production is over and we feel that everything is fine, and if you got an you might have a question that this production issue resolution we have delivered in hotfix branch, how this hotfix branch or how this fix can be moved back to the develop branch? Because if we don't move these changes to the develop branch, we will encounter in a coming release the same problem, right?
Yes.
Because we
Yes.
haven't committed this code to the develop branch. So particular developer has worked on this hotfix branch, and on this hotfix branch, we have delivered to the production. Now our application is up and running. It is very healthy. And the same changes, developers has to raise a pull request to develop branch as well.
Okay.
For what that? To maintain a future release also bug free. This particular bug which they have addressed in a hotfix, the same bug has to be raised PR to develop branch as well. What they do in that case? since they have worked on this local bug fix branch, the same while raising pull request to the hotfix, they raise pull request to the develop as well. So it will be part of upcoming releases. Once they raise a pull request to the develop, it will be part of the next releases also. My
So
particular bug fix,
hotfix,
yeah,
so hotfix will get the code from master only, right?
not from the master, from the release branch.
Okay, okay.
We have to
Before,
make sure.
okay, we
Yes,
have to analyze latest release and we have to go and check what is the latest commit happened on release branch. And from that commit, we have to uh,
yeah,
move it to hotfix.
whenever we are creating a branch by default with the git branch hyphen b, it will create on a latest commit. Okay, so any branch which you are creating from the base branch, now this case develop, from the develop branch, it is getting created, sorry, release branch is getting created on the latest commit of a develop branch. So I've just given you an example here from the develop to I've created a release branch. Yes, we should create the release branch from the develop. From that, we have to move the code to the lower environments. Once the QA testing or U8 and production is over, we have to merge this release branch code to master. So as I mentioned, master is always having a production ready code or stable baseline code. This is what the exactly the terminology means. So master, we don't allow some random code to directly push into the master. Rather, what we are doing, once the production is over, from the release branch, once the production is over, we have to create a pull request or we have to merge directly. Since this is our activity, or some release engineers or CI/CD engineers or DevOps engineers used to maintain the branching strategy, we need to merge this particular release code into my master code. So it is already delivered to the customer and I'm merging my release code into my master branch. Once I have merged, I will create a tag out of it. What is the name? Like I can maintain tag slash with the name of release tag. Here I have given a release. Now this case tag slash 2022-03-12. And some companies uses like a v1.0, v2.0. So based on their versions, they follow. The naming convention will vary from company to company. Now this case I'm creating a release branches. Previously we follow this model, and hotfixes would be like hotfix slash with the name of the deliverable date, and bug fixes will be created with the Jira ticket which they have got assigned. So this is how a branching strategy or a release process will happen internally for every sprint. Once this tag is getting created, yeah, at any point of a time, we can make sure that if we want to get a particular release code or a particular hotfix code, either we can go with the particular branches, because branches we are not sure after an year or 3 years or 4 years, um, after getting a many more branches, 1,000 or 3,000 or 4,000, 5,000 branches, uh, SCM administrators or architects will decide that, so let's delete all these develop branches or release branches. Let's make sure that our git should be, very clean manner. So to maintain that, so we have a, even if we delete a release branch or a hotfix branch, we can have a code on a tags. This is something branches or release branch or a hotfix branch or a master or a tag. This is just a reference or a pointer or just a address location update in a file system. And a git file system or git database, it is just an object which is referring to a physical file location. So this is not something, my developer is having 1 GB of a code. Whenever I create, new release branch, it will create another 1 GB of a copy. So not that's not. So what it will do, it will just create or a git log reference to the latest head or reference to the change which is happening on a latest. So this particular change you can see ACA is a commit or a change which was happened on a 14th. And let me just go back into the different branch, git checkout, develop, git log, and you can see the latest commit on a develop or latest commit on release branch or a master branch or a hotfix branch. This is the same. The head of the latest commit is always pointing to develop, release, hotfix, and bug. This is same. This particular commit is same across all these branches. So if I do any changes in a bug fix, my head would be to the latest commit. That means the commits are in a global level. Any change happening to GitHub or the repository that we have, it is globally. So it won't create any new copy, or whenever we are creating a new branch, it won't create any new copy of that particular Git branch. So rather, it will point to the same old repository or a same old Git, and it will just create any new commits which you are going to commit on top of that. So that is just a basic understanding of that, how Git stores and how Git manages branch to branch. So that's why we used to have a many number of branches developers used to create on their local, either feature or some other branches. So it won't occupy a same copy of original branch. So that's what about the branching strategy, and then followed by Git ignore. So actually I was talking about a Git ignore. So the basic need of a Git ignore is something, what is there in our develop? Yep. Let me just Java C. I'm compiling the Java code now. We have got a dot class file, and if you see git status, as part of a compilation, we have got new file created, dot class file. And this, if you check git status, now we can see dot class file is there. Git is asking me to add into their staging area, but we are not supposed to add this because this is an intermediary file which is getting generated as part of the build. As I mentioned, in a continuous integration, while discussing about Jenkins, we have to generate whatever the developer is writing the code on 100 lines or 200 lines or n number of files they are doing a modification, and once they are committed to develop our feature branches, we need to generate a build out of that. So while generating a build in a Jenkins machine, it will create a dot class files, and it will create some temporary files and folders, and some test cases and test reports, and finally the var or jar file or a docker image which we wanted to generate. All those are intermediary files, and those are not a part of a source code. We are generating these files out of our source code, which is the .java in this case. From the .java file which has written by the developer, we are generating a class files to get it executed on any other platform. In our case, we are going to deploy into the Tomcat, either that is a Windows environment or a Linux environment. So this is a cross-platform supported format, as we discussed earlier, a .class file which we can run on anywhere, since the Java is a platform independent. So this case, so I don't want to add this particular change into my local when developer is not only for the build purpose, Imagine when developers are working and he has around 2000 files in his local, and every time he's creating a build for every 2000 files, it will create another copy of .class files when he build in local machine. To test, he has to build it. He has to write his code and he has to build in he has to test it. So for that, it will create another 2000 .class files. So those .class files, while he's uploading or while he's committing the code by mistake, if he just added git add star by mistake, sometimes developers work on multiple files like 20 to 30 files. They used to modify and they used to use add star instead of adding one by one file. They will just mention the star. In this case, if his intention is not to add a .class file, but it was added by default, so that I'm telling my Git not to take this particular .class files, because we know these .class files or intermediary files, or there are situations .jar files, there are other situations .var files also will be created in our workspace in the sense, in my hello world workspace, it will create some temporary files, and I don't want those temporary files as part of my regular development activity. So I'm just restoring it. Sorry, that is a Java file I have restored. Git restore staged. So I've restored from the staging area. Since I have used a git add, it was staged, and I'm just revoking that back to the modified state. So now I need to add this to git ignore. Where we can find it out. In .git folder, there might be a file, or we need to create a new file. Object hooks logs. So if you see, there are node modules, dependency caches such as the contents of node modules or packages. So what exactly it is talking about? While creating any build, this case we are using a Java, and some other situation we need to create a build out of our Python code, and for a UI we might need to depend on AngularJS or any JavaScript framework. We have to create a build out of the source code which was developed by the developers. So any programming language, we have to depend on some third party packages or libraries or dependencies. Packages or libraries or dependencies are the things where it simplifies or eases our developers day-to-day work. What I exactly mean by that? So imagine my case. Now we have only hello world Java file. So the content is just a simple print statement. Tomorrow I'm working on some file system where I want to accept or upload my files to this particular hello world program file. In that situation, writing my whole file, I mean managing my whole file system, or managing the files and folders with the help of a programming language, they can write a code from the scratch, or else they can take a help of any dependency component which was already developed, or any library they can take it, and they can create, they can just reuse those functions which they have already written. So all we have to do, I mean we in the sense developer just reference those particular library in their program, like import particular jar file or a particular function they'll mention, and once it is imported, and they can utilize their default functions. For that, we need that particular dependency to be downloaded inside his machine wherever we are creating a package or a var or jar file package I'm talking about. So these node modules also those kind of a dependencies to create a UI build like AngularJS or React.js. We need a node modules. So those node modules are not a part of a source code. So those are just dependencies will be downloaded in the runtime while creating a build time. So if we download, even we can keep some companies where they used to keep node modules also inside a Git repository, because that is not a mandatory to maintain in the source code. It will occupy more size than our source code sometimes. So modules will be around 1 GB also, sometimes 2 GB also. So to maintain those dependencies is very difficult in a source code, since this is not a program headache. So for this, we can maintain these node modules also. We can ignore. There are a dot class files and the py for Python or something, or dot o for C files. There are many formats which you want to ignore as part of your build or as part of your regular day-to-day activities. Something DS store. So DS store is will be when developers are working with IDEs, it will generate some temporary folders and files. So all we need to remember, how to we use a git ignore. So what is the purpose of a git ignore? Anytime you want to ignore a particular files and folders not to be part of our git tracking or git staging area, we can use a git ignore. So some formats of using git ignore. See here they have mentioned logs, the file or a folder which was created with logs I want to ignore. So if I have any files, n number of files inside my logs folder, it will ignore everything. I will create a one ignore file and I will explain you there. Dot ignore file I'm creating in my current workspace. This case, I am ignoring our dot class file. Let me check whether it's working fine or not. What I have done, I've used the git add. Okay, still it has added to the staging area, but it has ignored dot ignore file. Let me just go back, git ignore. Okay, it is a dot git ignore, the file name. Inside that, let me echo Fibonacci dot class. Sorry, star dot class file. So dot ignore. Let me just reset because it is already added to my staging area. I'm just reverting back. So what I'm trying to do, I'm just adding my dot class, whatever, or the file which starts or which ends with dot class. I'm telling Git to ignore while adding to Git. Then just check the status. Now we have a two files, Git ignore, Git ignore and ignore. Let me just remove dot ignore since it is not considering as part of a Git. Now this case, I'm adding dot ignore file. This ignore file should be there in our repository so that whenever a developer commits his code or whenever a new developer has joined, he's not supposed to create a new git ignore file and he's not supposed to ask other developers, hey, what are the intermediary files we are generating as part of the build and what are the files and folders we need to ignore as part of adding git files. So now, if we push these changes to the remote, it will affect to all developers. Whenever they take a latest code, on their latest code, this particular .ignore folder or file will be there and that can be ignored. The .class files can be ignored. So there is no point that if we this git ignore is only for dedicated my machine or some other machine. So this has to be in a global level. So we need to push this first time whenever we create a git ignore. So once it is pushed to the remote, it has to affect for all the developers since it is a repeated work for everyone. So whenever a new developer thinks that a new file is getting created as part of the build and he want to ignore, he will just go and update this ignore file in his local machine, which was cloned or it was updated from the remote that we have committed. Let me just create another Java C hello world. What happened to hello world? The compilation issue was hello world. Okay, okay. Public class hello world. So last time we have made some syntax error to just check this how the syntax errors it throws. So parenthesis flower braces we have removed earlier. Now let me just compile once again. So we have found another dot class file with the name hello world dot class. So I'm checking git status now. Here we can see git is telling us only one file was modified and two untracked files. Untracked files are this one. So for this, first I need to commit this .ignore file so that it will count as a ignored file. Rm git commit -am. So
Rajendra,
yeah,
we are adding git ignore to ignore the whatever
.class
the files
files.
which are generated.
So
So
whatever, yes.
again, why you are removing class files then?
So this case I haven't no, I haven't removed all of them. One second. Ignore file added. So I've removed only the hello world class because once we commit the git ignore, then only it will consider for the newly added files. So, and if you see in the previous example, even we have a dot class file, which is a Fibonacci dot class file, it was not showing here or not here. One second. Yeah, even here you can see, you don't see Fibonacci dot class file because we have added a git ignore file after creating this particular dot class file, the Fibonacci dot class file. And once it is committed to the git staging area, then it will start ignoring the newly added dot class files. Because earlier in a Fibonacci dot class file, we have created a dot class file first. Then after that, we have created this particular ignore file. Yeah, here we have created a git ignore file, this one.
Hmm.
Dot class file already is there, so that it has taken, hey, okay, the file is already there, and it counted that the particular class file I need to ignore. And once if I committed this particular dot ignore to the git to my local staging area, then it will start not accept the newly added dot class files or folder structures, whatever we have. So for that, I just have removed that. In future, once I've committed and once everything is fine, it won't allow in the next time. So now let me just look out a git log. So I have added a ignore file, a new commit, and every time you want these changes to be effective in a different branches, like this case git branch, we have hotfix branch and master and a bug. Let me just merge my changes, how we can merge locally. And yesterday we have used one command, might be you missed that while I'm going through. So I will just go through once again on a merge part. So git merge joins two or more development histories together. So two or more development histories in the sense a develop branch. We can assume that one history or a feature branch. Imagine the major feature is a one branch. This is another history, or a release branch is an another history, or something. Master branch is also an another history. From one branch to another branch, we can merge in vice versa. So either from develop to feature or feature to develop, in both ways we can merge. So merge will happen in the two forms. Basically, if you remember, we have created a pull request instead of merging. So when we were discussing about what is a pull request and what is a merge, we have explained about merge will directly merge from one source to another source. When it comes to the pull request, it is just a gating, like it won't directly merge, it will wait for the approval, and once approver is approved and he has a privileges to merge it, like we have seen yesterday pull request. So all the pull request got closed. So one pull request which was approved by Renuka yesterday, and it was from develop to master. We can see here it was generated from develop to master. So in the same way, from feature branch to develop branch, or feature branch to feature branch, anything we can create a pull request. But in general, there when we have to use a pull request and when we have to use a merge. So pull request, as I mentioned, there are some branches where we restrict the developers not to push their changes directly to that particular branch. For that, they have their local feature branches or bug fix branches. With the help of bug fix branches, they have to raise a pull request, and once a pull request is approved, it will be merged to develop branch. So there also we are following a merge. So merge will happen in the two forms. Either directly we can merge like now, which we are going to do with the help of git merge, start squash and no verify station unrelated reverse commit about. Okay, let me list out. So master and a topic. So they are giving an example in a help document on a master branch. Just imagine D, E, F, G. These are commits, individual commits, and there is a feature branch which is a topic. So from the topic, they're merging or they're planning to merge to the master. Imagine master is my current branch. Then I'm using git merge topic. That means wherever you are in, example in our command line. Yeah, already we are in command line. Oh, here you can see the develop branch. Now I'm in a develop branch. If I use git merge, it will look for at the target branch. So we should make sure that from which branch you are going to take the changes and you are going to merge into your current branch. So my current branch is a develop. My current branch is a develop. I have done some modification in my develop, which is an adding ignore file. So what I felt, I want to merge these changes to some other bug fix branch. Git checkout, git branch. I don't remember the branch name. That's why I've used git branch. Now I'm checking out the code. Sorry, we haven't used this -b option. If you want create a new branch, then only we have to use -b. So now I'm in a bug fix branch. So what I'm trying to do here, let me merge, git merge. There is a one commit in develop, that is this particular commit, uh, which I have added a git ignore, git log. So there is no commit. The latest commit is renamed Fibonacci file, and the commit which we have made on a develop branch, not in bug fix branch. So I want the develop branch changes to my bug fix branch. Git merge, develop. So the merge was happened fast forward. What is a fast forward? There is no merge conflicts which we have encountered here. So why there is no merge conflict in the sense, if you remember, we have created the bug fix branch from the develop branch. So whenever we create a branch from another branch, and now we have made only changes on a develop branch. So there is no change in a bug fix branch. So what happened when we have a change in a source branch and in a destination branch there is no change? When we try to do git merge from this develop to my current bug fix branch, it will directly take these changes and it will merge into my current branch. So that's what happened here. Hello world Java, we have modified some syntax errors in a develop branch, and one file has changed and two insertions, one deletion happened. Git log. Now we can see ignore file added commit has come to my latest bug fix branch from the develop. So in the same way, we can raise a pull request instead of merging. Since it is my local branch, like bug fix branch, I'm always uh, open from develop to bug fix branch to do merges. But whenever I want to do my bug fix changes to reflect on a develop branch, I should follow only with pull request, not only for develop like release branches or master branches or any other branches. This is a development best practices. Okay, to write onto our standard branches, we should follow in the form of a pull request. When it comes to the local branches or future branches, he is always open to take the latest code and merge into his machine or merge into his branch. Git checkout, develop, git status, git add. I haven't added this git ignore file. In develop branch earlier I haven't added a git ignore to my staging. Now I try to add, it is showing the following paths are ignored by one of your .ignore files, .git ignore files. Okay, now even now I have forcefully added Fibonacci. What is meant by that? So it is suggesting if you want to really add these .git .class files, so we have to use -f option forcefully. We need to add, and it is suggesting if you want to set up globally. So in future, in the middle of your development, and you feel that these files also should be fine if we upload to the GitHub repository, then they can follow -f option to add forcefully. So I'm restoring again this dot class file. Now I'm adding our original .git ignore file to my staging area. It doesn't mean that you have to remember all this stuff, all the commands which we are using, but yeah, since it is a commit, always we are using commit, and why I'm switching to here and there, the develop branch or bug fix branch. Initially, you will be in a confusion, but once later on, once you have practicing in your machine, switching between the branches and updating uh, some content in a develop branch, and at the same you want to get into some other feature branch. So when we are doing the merges, so you will be habituated. So on a branching part, one second, I'm connecting. Yeah. On a branching part, we should be very thorough about what we are doing and which branch we are in. So nothing is newly added into my bug fix branch. Git log I'm checking. So I'm going back and I want to get the latest again from the develop branch. Git merge develop again. We can see here dot ignore has added git log. Now a new commit also come to my latest head. My head is pointing to. So in my machine, anytime if you want to see what are the branches are up to date with this particular commit, we can see here bug fix and my develop branch are up to date with this particular latest commit. So I'm just coming back from the log. Now I'm committing git push origin develop. This case, this is not a develop. Bug hyphen 3524 and let me just refresh my GitHub repository. Just a minute, less than a minute ago, there is a bug fix branch created and push the changes. Now you can see from this bug fix, just imagine now I have given a solution for a bug which was resolved with this particular commits. So now after adding ignore file, I have resolved one issue and my ticket was closed and then I can create a pull request to develop branch or any master branch, whatever the target branch we wanted to. These branches will be decided and will be defined for existing projects already. When you enter into any project, we should know some basic concept. What is a branching strategy? In Git, whenever you joined any new opportunity, we should know what are the branching strategies, what they are following. So now from the bug fix, I'm going to raise a pull request to develop. You might have got a doubt because these changes already there in develop branch. Again, why we are generating pull request? Yes, git status. So nothing. And if you see your branch is ahead of origin develop by 2 commits. That means in my local, I have a 2 more commits than my remote develop branch. I haven't pushed my changes to the remote. I have pushed only changes from the bug fix branch. So if at all I want to make changes, we have 2 ways. I can directly commit my changes. I can directly push my changes from my local machine to origin, I mean to the remote develop branch, or else I can create a pull request from my, since I have a bug fix is already having the latest code, I want to merge those changes back to develop. I can create a pull request or something. Even with a local, I can push git push. I can use a git develop branch. It will push the changes to the remote. Since I don't have access, in general, developers won't have access to develop or master to directly push their changes or commit their changes. So that's where they are using a bug fixes or feature branches once the feature development is over. And they can create a pull request to the develop branch. And once a reviewer is approved, we need to add the reviewers here. Once a reviewer is approved, like as usual, which we have done yesterday. So it will be merged. So once now since I have privileges, I can merge directly, or else he will merge once he approves. So that's how merge works, and git ignore also. So tomorrow we will discuss about the build tool Maven, and if there is any items left out or any doubts we have in Git, we will discuss that. Git ignore and branch deletion. Yeah, there is another feature also. Let's say accidentally you have created a feature branch, not only accidentally, in situation when this particular pull request is approved, here we have an option while creating a pull request or while merging a pull request itself, you want to delete the feature branch. It will ask. In that case, we can delete the feature branch or else we can keep the feature branch as usual, and later point of a time whenever you feel this branch is not needed. Let me just create another branch, bug 123. So touch bug.txt, git add, so git commit, git add, git commit -m. So I'm committing, and git push origin 123. So I've pushed my changes to the remote. Now I have got on one more branch here. Branches can be listed out anywhere from here also. And I want to remove git branch -d bug bug -123. Cannot delete the branch, checked out it. Git branch delete. Yeah, remote name and a branch name. Git push -d the bug 123 remote. Does not appear to be git remote -d delete could not resolve correct access rights. No, I have access rights to delete it, but let me check. What happened with the git branch -d bug hyphen? We don't delete this very often. Cannot delete the branch. So anytime if you encounter any errors, first you try to Google it for something. If you found out any, that is fine. Okay, we should be in a different branch while deleting. And the first solution here, they are given switch to some other branch. Since we are in a same branch, it is not allowing us to delete. So for example, they have switched it to the different branch, that is a master. From there, he has deleted other branch. This case we can switch check out develop. So git hyphen d bug 123 is my branch. Git branch. It was a wrong command. So git branch hyphen d. So now warning deleting branch that has been merged to one the branch name. So ref remote references is references which will talk about always the remote location inside the how the git will store your branches in the form of references. Inside the references it is showing a remote is our github remote url, and inside that we have a origin slash branch. So origin slash master, origin slash develop, but not it merged to a head. So deleted the branch. So this is talking these changes whatever we have added earlier. We have added one temporary file, not a git ignore. Let me check. We after creating this branch we have created a bug.txt, and we have committed that change and we have pushed it to remote. So those bug.changes were not committed to head it is talking about. So there are some changes left out if you want to merge or if you want to review them. So these changes are not there everywhere in other branches. So this particular new bug.txt file and all. So now I have deleted the branch. So let me check whether my branch was deleted or not. Let me refresh. Now still I can see bug 123 branch even after refreshing. Why? Because I've used the git branch hyphen d, the branch name. It will delete the branch from my local. I haven't pushed my changes to the remote. So exactly what they are mentioning, we can delete the branch when you are in a different branch. So after once the branch is deleted, we need to push git push origin hyphen delete branch or hyphen d branch. What exactly it is? We have deleted this particular thing in my local git repository or in my local workspace, and then followed by I need to push these changes, I mean the delete branch changes to remote GitHub. You can use the directly hyphen d option as well. So fail to push on some references because remote reference does not exist since it was already deleted on above command. It is clearly showing deleted. So deletion of a branch can be happened directly from the remote or directly from the workspace also. Now you can see 404. Usually 404 error code which we get whenever it doesn't found any resources which we are looking for. And in address bar you can see earlier we were in a branch bug-123 and it was deleted. So it is not displaying anything. Let me just give develop. Now we have got the code. So this is something about creating and deleting the branches and how we can delete branches in a remote. And you want to revert any commits, git log. Just imagine I want to revert a particular commit. I want to go back to a particular commit stage. Git is something, as we discussed, it is keep on a track each and every commit, and at any point of a time developer thinks that, hey, I don't want these two commits and I just want to go back to the previous commit. Git log. So the latest commit which starts with 580. Now this commit is D1, the just before commit. Git checkout. Git checkout develop. It was trying to create a new branch from the Git checkout. Git reset. Now git log. So ignore file added. Let me just come back. Git status. So what happened? So earlier I have used git checkout by mistake to go back to a particular commit. So git checkout usually we do for creating a branches or switching between the branches. So git reset is a command to just go back to the previous commit or go back to the commit which you don't want, and you have done some 10 commits and you don't want those 10 commits and you want to go for some ninth commit or 10th commit, and anytime you can reset it out with the help of the commit id, and now we can see it was come back all the changes, and after that you can start working on and you can start uh, contributing to the next further commits. So this case now, let me use, there is an option git amend also. Git reset travel or reset to a particular commit. So we have another command as well, git amend. So what typically git amend will talk about. Let me just check the status. So we are already one commit ahead from the develop branch, which is there in a remote. What exactly meant by that? This git ignore file added commit, we haven't pushed it to the remote from the develop branch. We have pushed only with the help of bug fix branch, so that we can push it later. But for now, okay, after 5 commits or 10 commits, you feel you have given some wrong commit message to your commits and you want to amend them, you want to modify those commits, and you can follow git hyphen amend git version batch amm or am git hyphen amend. Okay, so we need to mention the commit which we are going to amend. So what I exactly meant by that? I'm going to rewrite my history with a new message, new commit message, git log. So I don't want this ignore file added message. I want to change my particular commit message, git hyphen amend. Before that, I need to give git commit ID. What is happening? Okay, the commit itself, yep, command itself git commit hyphen hyphen amend, and let me just give the commit also along with that. So it is not accepting the commit. So the for amending the commit itself is a command git commit amend. Now this case it is displaying the latest commit which I wanted to edit. Git ignore dot git ignore file added, and you can see what are the things happened on that particular commit. So we have modified for syntax errors hello world Java, and there is an untracked file git ignore. I'm just coming back without saving. So let me check git status, and still uh, yeah, the same status. And now I have already committed, and the commit is having the commit message and along with the syntax error which we have resolved. And now I feel this particular git ignore file, hey, I haven't added this to my staging area, and I want this as part of my previous commit. What is that previous commit? This particular, for the namesake, I have given dot ignore file added, but in real, I haven't added this dot ignore file to my staging area. That's where we are seeing here. We haven't added dot ignore file to the staging area. So on that particular commit, what we have done, we have modified only syntax errors. So the closed parenthesis, closed flower braces I have added. So only these parentheses I have added for that particular commit, and mistakenly I have given the commit name as ignore file added. So now I'm fulfilling that particular uh, the request git add dot ignore git ignore get status. Now I have added to my staging area. Then what we have to do to add into the git local git server, we have to commit or with a commit message. So I don't want to create a new commit because I've given already, I want my this particular change to be part of my previous commit, this one. I want my changes to be part of this commit. Let's see how we can do that, or whether it is possible or not. Git commit amend. Escape WQ git status. So what I've done, I just modified the commit message with git amend option, git commit amend option. Now we have a, once I come back with the WQ, now we can see on a develop, it has added dot ignore file, and the syntax error also updated. Two files changed. One is dot ignore and another one is dot java file. Let me just look out a git log. On this particular git commit, it has updated my git commit message along with my .git to ignore file also added. So if you see clearly, I haven't committed this particular file. If you remember in above, it is clearly showing in red color. That means it was not added to either staging area or it was not committed to my local Git server. So with the help of git amend, so I have added my this particular .ignore file to the staging, and along with the previous latest commit, I have updated my changes. So there is a already commit which was happened. Commit 1, just imagine that commit 1 already happened, and for that commit there is an reset option. If you don't want to reset, if you don't want to be commit present in your log or history, so then you can reset it to the previous particular uh, commit with the help of a commit id. Or this case, I want my commit, previously committed commit, to be updated with my latest changes. I feel these changes should be part of a previous commit, and that's where I have edited that particular commit with hyphen amend option, followed by .ignore file also I have added to that existing commit. So without creating a new commit, I have updated the existing commit with the help of amend. So mostly amend we use for commit message update, and then changing the committed files. Yeah, changing the committed files in the sense earlier we have added a new file, or if you want to remove the file which you have modified, you can do that. Don't omit public commits recap. This is just about documentation. Yeah, this is what about amend option. So let me create a git tag out of it somewhere, or else git checkout mm, release. As I said, I'm going to create a tag from the git master, checkout master. So git fetch or git pull origin, just checking whether is there any new commits in a report remote from my master. Yeah, in my master there are commits which were updated into my local. So let me just create git tag. So tag is nothing but something to maintain the milestones, to just list out only the releases. So yearly we might be having a 20 releases or a 30 releases. If at all you want to go back to the release 2 code, and you cannot achieve that with git branch or a git develop branch. So by that time in end of the year, git develop is having around 2000 or 3000 commits. So those commits you cannot assume on this particular commit. Imagine, let me just come back, git log. So can you imagine with this particular commit is there in a production? I mean, this particular A80 or something with the name of commit message. Can we decide whether this was in a production of a second time or a second production or first quarter we have delivered this particular feature? We don't know, right? With the help of just a commit message or commit ID, we cannot make sure this was a production build or not. So for that, we have to maintain tags. So here git tag hyphen a d for deleting, I think. Create a list delete or verify tag object signed with GPG. So synopsis git tag. Okay, let me name it some random git tag a tag slash 2022. What is our release branch? Okay, 2022-03. Today is my since I have created already hotfix branch, tag hotfix slash, let me create a two types of tags here, hotfix slash 2022-03-15. Only with the tag. So I have only one tag, hotfix slash 2022-03-15. So there is a command which we have used. One second. History hotfix before that and amend. Yeah. So I will share you after converting this with a PDF, the basic comments for deleting. Okay, this is fine. And before that, we need to delete from your local. Git branch -d, the bug -123. So git tag, and you can easily find out with the help of a git document or directly from the Google. So I want to push my particular locally created hotfix tag, this hotfix tag, to the remote. Sorry. Yeah. Git tag push, and they have mentioned simply git push remote tag. Let's see how it works, but it won't work, I feel. Git push origin tag which I'm going to create, but somewhere I need to mention a tag also. It won't allow. Yeah, because why I got the doubt, git push origin, if I mention this hotfix directly here, we have a branch also in our local, which is a hotfix branch. And how Git knows that whether it is a tag or a branch, we need to specify that with git push origin tags. Now it is trying to update my remote references. Let's see whether it has updated in my remote. And here there is a master branch, and we have a three branches here. Any time if you want to locate a number of branches, you can list out here. And one tag was created, and we can see that hotfix 2022-03-15. So anytime we feel, let's say I want to download a code, I want to clone the code of a particular hotfix code of a 1 year back or a 2 years back. I can directly check out this particular tag, and or else I can directly download the code which I have used for this particular hotfix. And we can compare between hotfix to hotfix. You have multiple tags, either release to hotfix. Now this case I have created tag for hotfix. Imagine if I created release for release 2022-03-12 I've created, and after that I've delivered a hotfix. And what is the difference between the previous release to the latest artifact or latest hotfix which we have delivered? We can easily compare directly from here, comparing between tags. So that is how a tags works. So the need of tags, we can see we don't have any release branch since we haven't created any. Choose a tag we want to choose, but I don't want to use a tag. So that's where I haven't selected that. You can create a release branches or publish the release directly from here or from the local Git branch. We have a release branch also here that we can push to the remote, and it will be displayed in the releases. Release also in a branch, even a hotfix also a branch. Here hotfix, we haven't pushed any. This hotfix branch we have not pushed. This release branch we have not pushed. But what we have done on a master, we have created a tag and we have pushed it to the remote. So that's what happened. Even now I can push my release branch or a hotfix branch. In this case, I want to push my hotfix branch like other branches which we used to check out and which we used to push. Git status. These are just either feature branch or release branch or any other branch in a Git. It is the same as like other branches, but with the help of Git branching strategy, we are just differentiating the usage of the branches. So based on our purpose, we are just differentiating. Hey, for regular development activities, a develop is my branch. For maintaining the stable branch, stable baseline code, master is my branch. For maintaining the hotfix is my branch. This is just a process we are enforcing into our existing system. So this is just to worry about the Git, and just try to practice Git reset and switching between branches and creating tags in the Git status. ls uuch hf dot txt git tag. And now I can see Git status. Since I've already committed, nothing to be committed, but this particular commit was not there in a remote. So I just added this particular new commit, and in between, so now I'm working for this particular hotfix, and someone has asked me to update a particular code or to work on a different branches. So in that case, I'm in the middle of something. I want to save all my changes. So if I switch between the branches while I'm middle of something, I may lose the data. I may lose my changes. So for that, I can use a git stash option. No local changes to save. Example, I haven't committed. Git reset. Yeah, git reset. Let me go back to head. No such user or directory. Git reset. Earlier this command used to work. There is a cap symbol above 6. Okay, this command also not working. Git reset hard. Git reset hyphen help. So what I'm trying to look for. So the recent commit which I've done, I just want to reset. Or else directly I can do with git reset the previous commit name. If I don't want to do that, so there are some other options as well. Git reset hyphen hard. Okay. Git reset hyphen hard. So now git log. Still I'm there. God. Git reset hyphen hard. Mm, head. Now is it head? Okay. Soft. Git log. Soft and hard doing both. So both are the same. Git reset to checkout. Reset to cloned state. So I want to go back to the initial cloned state, or else git reset to remote. So what exactly mean by that? Git reset hard head. So I did it didn't work out. Origin master. I'll explain you about this now. Git log. So on the 15th he has done some changes. Okay. Git reset hard origin master. No, I don't want origin master. Since I have taken it from master, yeah, I should follow that. Mm, Git reset hard origin master. Okay. Yeah, okay. Anyway, we can ignore this. Clear. Git status. So now I'm in a hotfix. So everything got cleared. Whatever the commits I have done in my hotfix branch. After checking out, I've created a new file hf.txt and added a new file. So everything got cleared. But as I mentioned, we can do that with the help of git reset with a previous commit, or else with reset followed by the remote. What exactly meant by this? So I'm just telling my git to reset my particular commits with respect to this master. So I want my local changes as like a master, which is there on remote. In a GitHub, I have a branches, the master branch. So whatever it is there in my master, I want my local branch also in the same phase. So that's where I have reset it. touch touch hf.txt, and let me just look at the status of git. And now I have a new file which I have created and I haven't added to my staging area. And if I do git stash, so there is no local changes to save. In this case, git add HF. After adding my Git, this particular local changes to my staging area, now I've gotten another work which I need to fix it immediately or which I need to address it immediately. So for that, I need to add my local changes which are not under tracking to the Git, and followed by I need to stash it. So a stash is something which saves my local workspace or local changes for a temporarily. Git stash hyphen hyphen list. Do we have an option? Okay. All include ignore files, keep index, patch, quiet, auth reference files, hyphen m message, git stash. There is an apply option. Pass break and references, patch, git status. Nothing to commit. Okay. Since it is stashed. mm, Okay, there is no option. Keep index, quite weird message. What is happening? Git status. Sorry. Stash all. So nothing is stashed. Okay, let me look into this stash. So this is not something we use regularly. I will update you tomorrow on this. How we can effectively use a Git stash. How we can, in the sense of the developers. Yeah. Okay. So just let's close the session for today. And any doubts if you have, let's discuss on tomorrow's session. And if any time changes or modifications, okay, anyway, we'll discuss that and we'll update you on a timing part.